what's up? It's Grace, and today I'm going to be doing my January reading wrap-up. I'm currently filming this at nighttime, which I've never done before. Got some pretty whack lights over here. I don't know how good that's gonna work. I think it's gonna fall and things are gonna get damaged, but we'll do with what we have. And I think I've had a pretty good reading month, and don't really know how many books I read. I should count them, but I'm not gonna. And let's get on with the books. The first book I read this month was Soundless by Rochelle Mead. I was sent this book by Penguin Teen in exchange for an honest review, and I've done a whole separate review on it, so I will go ahead and link it down below. But ultimately, I didn't really enjoy this one. This is a like fantasy, historical fiction, standalone book that had a lot of potential to be great in my opinion. This is greatly inspired by Chinese folklore, which I thought was really great. Again, it's a standalone, but I thought that it was just too short and lacking to be a standalone. I love Rochelle Mead. I love her Vampire Academy series and her Bloodline series. They are two of my favorites. But this one really just lacked in characters for me. There wasn't anything complex or interesting or intriguing about the characters. They were admirable, but they were very forgettable, unfortunately. And again, if you want to check out more of my in-depth thoughts, I'll go ahead and link the review down below, but I ended up only giving this one 2 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Animal Farm by George Orwell, which is my best friend Hallie's, or one of her favorite books, and she really wanted me to read it, so I decided to. And going into it, I didn't know a lot about what it was about besides it being a satire and it being a classic. So if you don't know what this is about, it follows a farm of animals, obviously, but one day the main pig on the farm, the one who decided to kind of start that dream of starting a rebellion and taking over the farm and having it for their own and running it themselves. His name is Old Major, and he dies, and he kind of just dies with his dream not fulfilled. So the other 2 pigs, Napoleon and Snowball, they decide to take it upon themselves and start the rebellion, and they do, and they have this list of rules, you know, you must not trust those who walk on 2 legs, yada yada yada, and they place animals kind of on intelligence. Like some animals are very intelligent while others can't remember one word or repeat it 3 times. And it's really interesting just like how it's constructed and everything, and it's very politically backed up. And it's a very like quiet, subtle book where as you're reading it, you're just, you know, kind of just in the zone reading it. But by the last page, everything is just so intense, and it has one of the best last lines in a book that just really hits you, and kind of, it's like the book's laughing at you in a way, like, ha, you did this, you did this to yourself, you silly human. But it's just like so good, and just wait till that last page for it to really hit you. It's just really great, and I think it would be a really good audiobook to listen to it. So whenever I decide to reread it, I'll probably listen to the audiobook because it's really good. And also it's an allegory, so it's not actually like, you know, like animals. It's again, like, it's a satire, so it's politically driven, and it's so good and so smart. Like, how'd you even think of it? So yes, I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen, which was my first Sarah Dessen book, and I've heard amazing things about this one. And it follows this girl named Sydney. I believe she's 16, and forever she's kind of always just been her brother's shadow because her brother is very outgoing, and whenever anybody thinks about her family, they automatically think about her brother, and she's never stood out. She's never really wanted to stand out. And her family is very put together, very follow the rules type of family, until one day her brother gets in trouble and he's actually sent to prison, and her family's kind of just like uprooted and just doesn't really know how to cope with it, and her mom's in extreme denial, and her dad doesn't really know how to talk to her mom, so he kind of just stands in the corner and like lets the mom do whatever she wants. And Sydney kind of just always wants to stay away from her house, and she finds this other family that is a very large family, very eccentric and just different from her own, and she's drawn to them and she wants to know a lot about them. I thought that there was a great female friendship in this book that was really great, and I thought that a lot of the family aspects in this book were really great. Overall, this was a pretty solid book. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, but where I didn't really enjoy the book was it's just so stressful to read. So stressful. Hold on, my phone's ringing. Anyway, this book was just really stressful to read because things could have been solved with words. You just talk it out, guys. Just say how you feel. And I was so frustrated with her mother because her mom was so annoying. Her brother was in prison, but she acted like her brother or her son was in like college, and whenever he would get like a good mark, she'd be like, let's throw a party. She was just, and I know that like it's really hard to deal with a child that's, you know, in that predicament, and it's like a denial thing, but Sydney was such a good kid and her mom never even realized it, and she always kept Sydney from doing the things that she loved and just made life really difficult for her, and she was just a good kid and it was just so stressful. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty solid book and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. I'm sure you all know what this is about. It's very popular, but I'll just give you a really quick like synopsis about it. It follows this girl who is allergic to everything. She can't go outside. The only people she's really had contact with are her mother, her caregiver, and one day a tutor comes over, and I think she's seen a doctor before. That's really it. I thought that this book, I read it in like 3 hours. It was so fast and fun, and it has like these cute notes and drawings that made it really fun. But the more I think about it, the more, like, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars after I finished it. But the more I think about it, I'm just like, I might give it just 3 out of 5 stars because I think it was solid, it was good. But the ending was, it was like a curveball for me, and I like that kind of like shock sense of it, but it was just like not well fleshed out really at all. This is a very short book, and I thought if it was a little bit longer that it would be cool. But there was just something that didn't really sit well with me for this book. But I enjoyed it while I was reading it. It was really fast, but the ending kind of just messed me up. I was just like, whoa. It was just a book that didn't really go with it, and it was just kind of too easy, but also really harsh. I can't really say a lot about it, obviously, but I gave this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I think I'm going to change it to 3 out of 5 stars. The last books that I read this month were Rereads, and that was City of Glass by I always say Sarah J. Maas, because Throne of Glass, but it is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare, which is the 3rd book in the Mortal Instruments, and then the 4th book, City of Fallen Angels, and the 5th book, which is my favorite, City of Lost Souls, and I only have one more book to complete my reread. This series is my favorite. Like, I can't express enough how much I love it. The reason why I'm rereading this series, well, I started my reread, I think December or November, one of those. But I decided to just kind of like read all 3 because I watched the first episode of Shadowhunters, and I was like, oh my god, I need the real characters in my life right now. I need to read the real ones because it was horrible. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was okay, but then I just was like, give it up, Grace. There's really no hope. And I was like, okay, it's bad. The show compared to the movie now, the movie is gold compared to the show. And that is saying something. But these books are dynamite. They're amazing. I love them. 5 out of 5 stars for everything. Number 4, City of Fallen Angels. When I read this, I remember I was kind of bored throughout it because it's a lot in Simon's perspective, but now rereading it, I freaking love Simon. Simon, I get it, he was so irritating in the 1st and 2nd book, but not really in the 2nd one. I love Simon no matter what because he's just like the best friend ever. He would do anything for everyone, no matter how rude or mean they are to him, because that's just how Simon is, and I adore Simon. And everything is going against Simon, and I love him so much. And I just got a lot of good perspective in this book. Just Cassandra Clare, oh my god, Lady Midnight. Let's stop rambling now, but I'm so excited. So many people have gotten the Lady Midnight arc. Congratulations, but I'm also very jealous. So those were all the books that I read in the month of January. If you've read any of these and you want to tell me your thoughts, please do so. And also, what was your favorite read of the month? Because I would love to know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.